You tuned in to Morning Live. Thanks so much for being with us. Now, the family of singer Bongegile Smelane, popularly known as Babes Wodumo, is scheduled to hold a media briefing at 10 o'clock this morning. Now, the artist has reportedly laid a charge of assault against her boyfriend, Mandla Mampinja Mapumulo, after a video of him inflicting physical harm on her surfaced and went viral on social media yesterday. Meanwhile, in a statement released also yesterday, a National Police Commissioner Khehla Sitole said a senior member from the Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Offences Unit had been dedicated to investigate this case. So to discuss this further, we join now by the National Police Commissioner Khehla Sitole. Thanks so much for coming through, Commissioner.
Thank you very much.
So let me start here. Can we just start by defining the role of the police when it comes to cases of domestic violence and abuse?
Yeah, thanks very much. I think the role of the police immediately a case of domestic violence is reported is to come in, investigate, and immediately take the suspect and process him or her through the criminal justice process. And if need be, the suspect may then be taken to jail.
So very often people also complain that police don't take them seriously in certain instances. In others, they are told flat out by police that these are family matters and therefore they will not get involved. So do you find that there is a problem with the understanding of that role with some of the police officers?
Yeah, let me be straightforward with you to say the majority of the police, because the domestic violence issue is also part and parcel of a formal course and a formal education within the police service. Members get educated, they get trained. But then secondly, is a seriously monitored subject. Yes, here and there you find incidents, one or two, where police would not behave well and also give the necessary service to the community. But we immediately take action when such incidents are reported. And the action include serious misconduct where others get even fired from the work.
And we've seen in recent months and weeks, there was a case of a police officer who killed himself and his lover. I think it was in Cape Town somewhere.
Yes.
And this was an instance whereby he had been violent. His weapon had not been taken away. Excuse me. And he inevitably ended up killing his partner. So that is a clear case of an instance where the police obviously didn't take seriously the charges that were being brought against one of their own. How do you go about policing that particular matter?
Yeah, I think firstly, commanders are also given the necessary training. Over and above the necessary training, there's also the performance management system. This is enforced through the performance management system, that they need to look into the welfare of the members. We also have an EHW support within the organization where such member, when they realize that this member is no longer operational ready and something is not right, they refer the member for EHW counseling, and the EHW will give us a report, and from that report we'll act. If there's a need that we should disarm the member, we will do so. But if there's other necessary steps that need to be taken, the member is also exposed to such processes, including certain programs. If a member would have gone to a point where he takes his life and his loved ones, then it means the commander wouldn't have done their good job in order to make sure that this case is safe. But sometimes it happens that the member does not show any such symptoms because some others are strong, and then the matter just becomes a sudden incident.
Now, yesterday there was quite a bit of outrage expressed by South Africans in reaction to that video that went viral of Babes Wodumo and Mampinja. And you yourself have expressed shock about this particular situation. But what is the latest in this regard? Has Babes Wodumo actually laid a charge?
Yes, let me confirm that she has laid a charge because immediately after we witnessed the incident, we also took the necessary action as the police. We opened an inquiry and then in an attempt to try to reach her. After reaching her, a charge was formally laid and currently it's under investigation and the suspect is expected to be processed through court soon.
What do you mean by that? He's expected to be processed to court soon? Because people have been asking, because there's also a narrative that says he should hand himself over. So in what type of instance is someone expected to hand themselves over? And in which instance do you actually go out to arrest them?
Okay. I'm not sure where does the handing over message come from. But as the police, we are bound to act. And whenever we act against a suspect, we apprehend the suspect and take the suspect through court. Unless before we go and pick up the suspect, while we might still be busy with the complainant. Like in this case, we went through an inquiry, we tried to find it so that we take a statement. If during that time he would have handed himself over, then we would accept that. But immediately we are done, we go and execute the action. No one is expected to come hand himself over to the police.
So, have you gone out after the charges were laid to actually apprehend him?
The instructions and the directives were given. I'm expecting a report early this morning into that particular progress. But the instructions were given that prompt action, be taken immediately after everything is processed with the complainant.
So how soon is immediately? Because if, someone who is not a high-profile person goes and lays a charge of assault against, their spouse or whoever it may be who assaulted them, how soon do you actually act?
Immediately, if he's at a police station, immediately after a case is reported, all the necessary statements has been taken and the complainant has pointed out where the suspect could be or where the incident has taken place. The police must go out and fetch the suspect.
I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
So why haven't you gone out to arrest Mampintsha as yet?
Okay, let me explain it this particular way. I think firstly, let me not say, between us now, we cannot say we did not go and arrest him. We started following the correct process so that we get the necessary statements. At the present moment, I'm not sure whether the arrest has not been effected overnight because the instruction was that arrest must be effected immediately. So I am going to get the report immediately after the studio. I will be getting the report. And definitely the suspect will be processed, will be in court today. But before he's in court, an arrest shall have been effected already.
Brigadier Vish Naidu is here with you. Maybe we can ask him to put through a call whilst we have you here and talk through other issues. So maybe we can have that information before we conclude this interview.
Yes.
Excuse me, but you've also, as the police, said that a third party can actually go and lay a charge because this came to the public's attention through a video that went viral. Then we know the EFF in KZN, they went and laid a charge. So that is also something that South Africans have been talking about. How does a third party come into play where there may be instances of abuse, of violence against loved ones? How does a third party go about reporting this?
All right. Maybe we must take it first from a community policing perspective because we want to continuously encourage our communities to report crime in whatever way it does take place. If it is brought to the attention of the police, remember, as the police ourselves, we can also open a case for the state. And if the third party comes in and say there's abuse taking place, there's crime taking place, the police will then take the necessary action and process it through the law. If we have to use the third party for an inquiry, I think we will also do so. But we encourage the involvement of the third party because the crime might have been in progress and the outcome of that particular crime might have resulted in a manner that disables the complainant from reporting immediately.
So there is, of course, a concern from the public's perspective that when it comes to the entirety of the criminal justice system, will this actually reach a point where you can take a case to court, where it's actually placed on the court roll from a third party's complaints?
Yeah, remember there's cases where the state can actually be where the state can advance as complainant. Now, the police are trained. They would know when a matter is brought in by the third party, which law, which section of the Criminal Procedure Act will apply. And they will treat it exactly in terms of that section of the Criminal Procedure Act. But the one obvious thing is that we cannot throw a case away, especially where serious misconduct, criminal conduct has been committed, because a third party has brought it to our attention. But we can always move or escalate from third party to the real party and proceed with the case in court.
And then there's the question, of course, about video evidence, whether that is admissible. What does the law say?
Yeah, I think video evidence shall always be admissible if it has followed certain procedures and it meets, that is, the court, that is, requirement. But like the video of yesterday, we saw it ourselves also as the police. And that was sufficient evidence for us to open the inquiry and base the case on that particular video. And
then, excuse me, there's other cases as well that I just quickly want to run through with you. In recent weeks, we've seen a spate of murders, most notably Matwetwe actors Pusiso Kwenana and also Toriso Temane out in Polokwane. What's the latest on those cases?
I think all those cases, they were placed under the 72-hour turnaround. And within 72 hours, the arrests were effected immediately. And whenever we experience, I think there was another one in Northwest, and we also had another one in the Eastern Cape over the weekend. All of them were placed under 72-hour turnaround, and the suspects were apprehended. So those cases are currently in court.
And then Senzo Mayiwa, the Sowetan, picking up on that, saying that there's pressure. And Kanya, we received a tweet in this regard as well. Kanya Tembane saying, can you ask the Commissioner how far they are with Senzo Mayiwa's investigation?
Yeah, with regard to the Senzo Mayiwa case, from my side, I said, firstly, it's a very sensitive case. And it's a case that's full of emotions from both the public and as well as the family. And it wouldn't be fair to create more expectations than action. I can only say we have the cold case team dedicated to it. They're very close to wrapping up the case, but I wouldn't like to maybe create any further pain out of it. The public is expecting action, and as they're also twittering, they're expecting action. I can only say within a short space of time, there would be action. We're working on action, and we're no longer
there is progress in that case.
There's progress, but I want to come back to the studio and relate on action.
Absolutely. We'll have you as soon as you can tell us more.
Yes.
Well, turns out Brigadier Vish Naidu did go and put a call through. It seems Mampintsha has not yet been arrested. Apparently, he cannot be found.
If he cannot be found, he's automatically under 72 hours. And immediately I'm out here, I'm going to put it under 3 hours.
To find him?
To find him. And before end of day, he will be in court.
I'm sure we'll speak to you before the end of the day. But
yes.
Just a final question and a concern, perhaps, that this is a high-profile case involving high-profile personalities.
Yes.
But what about just ordinary South Africans going about their day-to-day business? We don't see this sort of spotlight being placed on their cases of domestic abuse and violence. Why not? Okay,
maybe the first difference is that ordinary people, their matters are not taken to media hype. But from the side of the police, we apply the same principle, we apply the same action, and we apply the same operational approach. All cases which are committed under certain circumstances, they all warrant the 72-hour turnaround response. And all of them, they get resolved within that particular 72-hour turnaround. But the one obvious thing is that some cases are picked up by media first. And we find ourselves bound to respond to media to say, that's right, this is the progress. But those cases that does not come to the attention of media, we respond to the families, and the families get the response. But we deal with the same criminals. Criminals are given the same treatment. And we want to clear and create a safe and secure environment for our communities.
And just on that particular note, so here you have a video that's gone viral of abuse. You walk through a township, a suburb, wherever, and you can see someone has been assaulted. Will the police be bound to act on that?
The instructions from my office, they stand like that. And I also want to confirm...
But are they followed?
I think the police is one of the most monitored environment under command, because right from the station, you have got a station commander who's responsible to monitor. And this nowadays, we've also elevated the level. We're taking now Major General senior officers so that we lift the authority high at that level and then strengthen your command and monitoring. So we monitored from that level, at the level of the province and at the level of national. Once we've issued an instruction, we make sure that the instruction is complied with.
So where it is not complied with, if our viewers right now start sending us messages, tweets, emails, get in touch with us by whichever means and say, at such and such a station, this is what I reported and nothing was done about it, will you follow up?
Yes, maybe let me promise it in this way. Firstly, through the community policing strategy, you might have also listened to the president making a call. The South African communities, they call me on my number and they tell me about incidents. I issue instructions and make sure that such matters are attended. They come back to me and say, but at least you are a man of your word. So I think I also want to make a call to all those who go on Twitter and say to them, there is the community policing strategy. Let's talk continuously, because the more we speak is the more we deal with the criminals, and is the more the space of the criminals getting squeezed.
All right. Commissioner Sitole, thank you so much. I think you have an immediate task facing you as you leave the studio. Yes. And we hope to hear from you within the next 3 hours. You said it's 3 hours, the countdown begins. So by 10 o'clock, there should be a result, if not before then. But thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.